viewers. This is just a narration video because I am testing out my narration and reading skills. I apologize for any noises in the background or buzzing in the microphone. I don't have a very good microphone. It's just a standard desktop mic. So, yeah, it's shit. And I apologize for any stuff ups like that because I am nervous and yeah. But yeah, I will be narrating my story that I just made, literally, like half an hour ago. I will be narrating how they met is the title. It's just to put the description. Basically, it's just a story of how Vex and Baxter met, my main personas. Alright, well, on to the narration. Hold on, just gonna adjust the microphone a bit. Alright, on to the narration. The door to the old house opened. A small face peeped through as it creaked open. Vex had come in on a dare. The house was the lonely old one. People suspected of being haunted because of glowing eyes peering back at them at night and disappearing as quickly as possible when seen. Vex walked in slowly, looking around. It had grand stairs at the entrance with a dusty old red carpet trailing up to the next floors. Everywhere had dust for that matter. But it had paw prints trailing through it all. Very large, clear paw prints. But what were they doing there? Maybe someone else had explored before her? She continued to explore out of curiosity. It led her to the only wrecked room in the house. It was near the attic, and darkness seemed to rule the room. But curiosity had again driven her forward. She walked cautiously. A figure crawled on the large beam near the middle of the room, and from there a pair of glowing blue eyes peered down at her, though she didn't seem to notice. "What's this?" he thought to himself. He continued to watch her for a bit, until she wandered too far into his territory. The large figure got up on the beam and jumped down onto the hard wood floors below, startling Vex. He slowly got up from a crouch to a tall stand and opened his eyes. His face turned slightly aggressive as he peered down at Vex. The tall creature walked towards Vex. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" A deep, harsh voice came from him. Vex couldn't help but look and pick out all these unusual features about him. Horns, large teeth, glowing eyes, and a very long tail with spurs on his ankles. What was this strange guy? His eyes turned darker as his aggression grew. "Have you come to call me a freak too?" His voice seemed to shudder as small beads of tears appeared in his eyes. He seemed to be reminded of bad things in his past. No, Vex said quietly. "Honestly, I think behind that anger is a nice guy," Vex said in a confident but quiet manner. His aggression had suddenly disappeared as he paused. It was like this was the nicest thing he'd heard in years. You really think so?" His voice calmed and his tension melted away. A single tear fell down his face as his eyes lightened back up again. He walked over and sat down with little shock in his face. He wiped the tear away. Vex cautiously walked over and sat next to him, looking at him. He looked back and gave a smile, though. "Thank you," he said quietly. She put her hand on his shoulder in an assuring manner and smiled back. "So, why do you live here?" she asked. He sighed and his smile drifted away. "I can't go out there. I'm a freak to everyone." Bex looked at him in a confused way. "Really? I've seen far more unusual people than you. The world has changed a lot. It's not just dogs and cats anymore. There's dragons, space kangaroos, tall creatures, all kinds of things now." Her voice seemed to be calming him down as she said all this. "You won't be looked down upon with all those people around," Vex said reassuringly. The sun had come down and Vex knew she couldn't be there any longer as the night creeped in. "Well, I'll be back tomorrow. It's getting dark and I don't want to be out after dark." He looked at her as she started to walk out. "Wait!" he quickly shouted, getting her attention. "What's your name, if I may know?" He tried not to sound rude. "My name is Vex," she said. "Well, my name is Baxter. Thank you for coming over." She smiled as she left the lonely old house. She had a good feeling about this stranger. After a few weeks of visiting Baxter, they had become good friends. But Vex thought to herself, "He can't live here. I have a spare room. Maybe he can come over." When their last visit ended, she placed a note on the table. Reading it, it said, "I cannot stand seeing such a nice man like you live in here. I have a spare room at my place and a bed that has just been sitting there without use. I know we are good friends now, so please, consider coming over at least once." An address was written down, and below that, Vex's signature. He looked up and thought, but his fear kept him there. However, for the next few days, Vex did not return. His fear of something happening to his only friend caught him. At that morning, he put on his hoodie and grabbed the note with the address. At first he hesitated, but he urged himself forward and walked to the address, not too far away. He sighed and knocked on the door softly. Vex opened the door, and her face lit up with joy as she jumped onto him and hugged him. But he wasn't used to hugs, so this caught him by surprise. Vex jumped back and giggled as she greeted him into her house. A great bond had grew between them as the future loomed. But with happiness comes sadness, secrets, and anger. Well, I guess that's it. I'm not too sure how that turned out, so yeah, just if you want to critique it, I guess you can. I'm not stopping you. I'll give you guys the link to the full story down below, and I'll also link it to my DeviantArt because I don't know, I've been wanting to give you guys my DeviantArt just in case you want to have a look at all the art I've been doing, because I am far more active on DeviantArt than YouTube and everywhere else. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.